On the Italian front, the war had reached a place where mountains mattered more than miles. Between January and May 1944, Allied armies tried again and again to smash through the Gustav Line, the German defensive belt that blocked the road to Rome. At the center of it all stood Monte Cassino, a steep hill crowned by an ancient Benedictine abbey, looking down over the town of Cassino and the valley routes below. Whoever held that height could watch the battlefield, command the approaches, and turn every advance into a slaughter. The Allies knew that if Monte Cassino did not fall, Rome would remain out of reach. But Monte Cassino was not just a military obstacle. It was also a place of memory, faith, and history. And that made what happened there even more tragic. The Germans had evacuated the monks and the monastery's treasures, and the abbey itself was not initially occupied by German troops. Yet Allied commanders believed the heights and the buildings below were being used for observation and defense, and so the monastery was bombed into rubble on February 15, 1944. Instead of removing the problem, the destruction created a new one. German paratroopers moved into the ruins and turned shattered stone into a fortress. From that moment on, the battle became even harder, because the attackers were no longer fighting a monastery, they were fighting a ruin that had become a killing ground. The struggle for Cassino unfolded in 4 brutal assaults. French, American, New Zealand, British, Canadian, Polish, and other Allied troops all took part in the fighting, making it one of the most international battles of the war. The first attacks failed, the second attack failed, the third attack failed. Each time, the defenders held the slopes, the river crossings, and the shattered town with discipline and fire. The town became a place of exhaustion and ruin, and the casualty lists grew longer with every attempt. By spring, Monte Cassino had become more than a tactical objective. It had become a test of will, a place where armies were measured not only by how far they advanced, but by how much punishment they could endure. Then came the final assault in May. On the 11th of May 1944, Operation Diadem began with a massive artillery barrage along the front, and the pressure finally started to break the German position. The Poles were ordered toward the mountain itself, while other Allied forces pushed in from the valley and the flanks. The fighting was still vicious, still costly, still close enough to feel hopeless, but the German line began to give way. On May 18th, Polish troops of the Second Corps reached the ruins of the abbey and raised the Polish flag over Monte Cassino. The hill was finally taken. The road to Rome had opened at last. But the victory stood on a foundation of smoke, stone, and sacrifice. Monte Cassino was not simply won, it was survived.